things. This is what we're going to be talking about on the show here today. We're going to be talking about like the reality of running your facility. You know, we've been carrying this theme for the last couple of weeks here, and we've had a shit ton of interest from you guys who want to actually come and get all of the shit we've been talking about. But first, I think we should frame like where this is coming from. Listen, guys always want to know how to scale their fitness businesses, and one of the first conversations we have to have with dudes is to bring them to the realization that sometimes the way they're running them, the way they've set their business up, well, it isn't a business. It's actually a really unpredictable, uncertain job. And they realize that they're going to actually need some more systems in their business, and they're going to open up capacity if they want to actually create something that is a business. So when we're saying a business, I think it's important to point out as well, like, look, if you own a job, that means that you're trading time for money. You have to be on the gym floor so that you can actually take the money from your client, so on and so forth. So it's going to be limited by how much time you can spend on the gym floor. A business is something that earns you money while you're not present. So really what we're saying there is like you've been able to grow your business to the point where you need to bring on another trainer. But then when you bring on another trainer, well, you're going to have a have system. You're going to have methodology, philosophy, all of the stuff we've been talking about over the last 2 weeks. So really what we're saying is like you're going to have to shift the goalposts, and you're going to have to level up, for want of a better fucking expression, if you're going to want to take a next step in business. And that means that you're going to encounter some of the problems that we've all encountered when we're growing them. So really what we're talking about here is the opportunity for you to come and get the full training manual, like everything, the programs in its entirety. We'll walk you through the philosophy and the methodology that we use. You'll get to take the programs home with you, and then we'll be out on the gym floor, like with the practical application of absolutely everything that you would need to run a 7-figure facility. And I know, like, yeah, you're throwing out figures, right? But like, yeah, you could, like, actually showing you how you can analyze the way your business model set up so that you can see, well, has this actually got the ability to produce the income that I'm looking for? And what we're going to show you is, yes, how you could, with around about 3,000 square foot, begin to generate 6 and into 7 figures. Does that sound like a fair enough overview?
Definitely sure does.
Cool. So Jay, take him through. What the fuck?
Well, listen, where do we want to start with this particular live at 11? We want to kind of start at the beginning, don't we?
Yeah.
So, I mean, on this call, what I want to do is probably touch on 3 points, maybe even 2 points. We'll see how we kind of get through them, and we'll see if there's any feedback from the people watching. So we've got a few people: Sean, Carl, Owen, Marty. So as the people are filtering in here, if there's a question you have, put up your hand or drop it into the comments. We'll see them pop up here, and then we will be able to go through them. So the first thing, I suppose, that we're going to talk about is consultation, because, and we won't go into mad depth on this, but I suppose the main point that we want to get across here is that, remember, as a coach, all right, the function of a coach is to get a desired outcome. All right, or the function of coaching is to get a desired outcome. It's to move somebody from where they are to where they would like to get to. And ultimately, in order to do that, it's going to come down to the quality and the quantity of the questions that you ask somebody. So very often, you got to remember that when people are coming in and they sit down with you, what they turn into is kind of like a yes man. And what I mean by that is it's the type of person who will just turn around and tell you whatever they think they want you to hear, whatever they think like you want to hear, in order for you to stop asking them questions because it's uncomfortable. What do you reckon, Sean?
100%. And one of the things we know from doing thousands of consultations over the last decade is, look, you've got a very small time. You've probably heard this saying, you've got one chance to make, you don't have a second chance to make a first impression. You've heard that saying. So here's something maybe you don't know. Do you know in a jury, like the accused person, and this is studied, they know that this is true, the people in the jury make up their decision in the opening fucking argument. So in the first 30 minutes, they've already decided whether the dude's guilty or innocent. And then all they're doing is like pulling out wee bits of information to confirm the decision.
Yeah. Looking for information to confirm it.
Yeah. If you're in a job interview, you've 40 seconds before the interviewer has already decided whether you're the person for him or not. Now, in a consultation, in a personal training environment, you 4 seconds, you fucking 4 seconds in order to get a couple of points across. And you're trying to hold their attention, control the conversation, begin to ask questions. You're trying to do an awful lot of things, and you've only 4 seconds in order to get it right. And if you fuck up that first 4 seconds, that person is walking. So there's also understanding the best way to control conversations, the kind of questions to be asked that's going to give you the information that's going to allow you to position yourself as the expert and somebody who has the solution to their problems. So that's super fucking important, knowing how to structure your consultations, knowing the right questions to ask. And a super, super important one is, and one of the biggest problems I see with trainers is they can sell a 28-day thing or a 6-week thing or an amazing 12, but people don't stick around. So there's things you should be doing in the initial consultation that frame the long-term investment of that person. And without them, you're going to be trying to plug your business with a series of, you know, short-term fixes, one after the other, one after the other. And that's what can become exhausting and drive a lot of businesses, you know, to closing, going broke.
And I think an important point to put across here, especially if you are a successful one-on-one trainer and you're transitioning into hiring people or opening up a gym, which is going to turn into a business, you're going to have people working with you in order to get results. A lot of people say, listen, people just stay with me, you know, for a year, 2 years, 3 years, my clients never leave, which is absolutely amazing. And chances are that you probably are just skilled and gifted in the area of communicating, and you make people feel very, I suppose, connected to you. You make people feel secure. You make people feel connected, and therefore they want to stay with you. And you also obviously help people get results. But, you know, have you sat down and thought about that? And could you teach whatever you do to other people? And if you can't, then you're probably going to run into trouble. So just to kind of highlight again, the function of coaching is to get people a desired result. So however you do that is to get people a desired result. And the quality of the questions that you ask people are going to dictate the result that they get, all right? Because you're going to be able to steer them in the right direction. You're going to actually get down to what is the crucial things that people need. An example would be, I was talking to a guy literally before I walked in the room, and his nutrition, you know, his training is perfect, right? So Deck, he's training, he's killing it, he's getting fitter, he's getting stronger, but he's having issues with his nutrition, all right? Mm-hmm. Now, I could just tell him, you know, Deck, eat less calories, eat less calories, eat less calories. And, you know, theoretically, that is the right thing to do, in the sense that if he eats less, he will lose body fat, or he will lose weight, let's say, right? Don't get too technical on this here. But ultimately, what I've got to try and do is identify what are the crucial moments within his week, what are the crucial behaviors which cause issues. So just even having a small conversation with him, one crucial behavior is he goes and buys coffee in a coffee shop. All right, so there's nothing necessarily wrong with the coffee, but every time he buys a coffee, he buys a fucking scone or a muffin or something like that. So therefore, walking into the coffee shop is the crucial behavior that we need to touch on. Another example for Deck would be when he's in work, he works with a lot of women and they buy a lot of cakes. All right, dudes can buy cakes as well, but it just so happens where he works, like each day, you know, there's some woman going through some sort of thing and they're using food as a kind of crutch. So they'd sit down together and go, listen, we're not going to fucking eat any shit. We're just going to bring in cakes on Friday and we'll all have a slice of cake. And then, you know, somebody's having an argument with their boyfriend, or somebody's kids are fucking in trouble, or whatever the case may be. In comes cakes. Cakes are sitting on the desk, and then all of a sudden he starts getting stuck into them. So there's two crucial moments. One is like cakes on the desk in work, because he can't do anything about it, in the sense that he can't not be in work. So the cakes are there. So what we have to do is try and find these crucial moments and give them behaviors and strategies which are going to help them. And ultimately, in terms of long-term behavior, that's one kind of example of how sitting down in a consultation process will lead to long-term better results.
Make sense? Right, yeah. I think the point you've made there is perfect, because look, there's a lot of macro coaches and all that fuck run about, and I'm sure, you know, we were young enough to believe that all you needed was a macro calculator and then fucking results. But look, if giving people food in a page got results, I mean, we'd be out of a job, because everybody would be ripped. You can download all the nutrition programs you could ever want and all the training programs you ever want. But where actually getting results is like what you said, is creating a long-term behavioral change, which means that people actually change their identities. So the coaching conversations we're going to be having on this day are way beyond like, here is a fucking hierarchy of what is important in a person's diet, and here's how to program people's macros. No, it's about creating a long-term behavioral change, which even from the consultation, if you heard what we're talking about, we're framing long-term investment in their results from the moment we open the conversation with them to the moment we start talking about nutrition to when we start talking about the programs that they should be doing. So like, this is all about creating long-term investments in your business. So if we're looking for long-term members, which that's what you want, you don't want to be selling quick fixes all the time. You don't want to be selling 6 after 6 weeks or having to resell your clients. And therefore, the stuff we're going to be talking about this is going to be the kind of things that's going to build your membership. And it has to be congruent throughout all areas of the business. So that's why when we're saying like the impact training philosophy, it goes beyond just macros, it goes beyond program, it goes into the real, the advanced coaching shit, the behavioral change aspect. I think it's important to point that out.
Yeah, now I'll give you one other example, and this will segue straight into nutrition, because I know this is an area that a lot of people want to talk about. Yeah. Now, ultimately, people, they want to turn around, give me the fucking formula, give me the formula for helping people lose weight. And the reality of it is, and hopefully that you respect this answer, and you're not just, oh fuck, you know, Billy Big Balls Guru on the internet has some formula. There is no formula necessarily for success, all right? There is no multiply the person's body weight by 3.15 and subtract when fucking Venus goes around Saturn, and when it's in line with Pluto, then that's the magic calorie number that you have to give your client.
Shit from?
Just swang it out there, all right? But listen, in order to impact people, it doesn't even matter necessarily about the food that they eat. And you're going, what the fuck are you talking about? If you change somebody's environment, and I'll give you 3 examples of how you can change someone's environment, and 1 to 3 is going to go from easy to slightly more difficult. Here's 3 examples of how changing environment will totally impact somebody's calorie, the amount of calories they consume. So we've heard this one before, but a lot of people don't take it on board. If we were to get a plate, okay, your average plate, let's say it's a 9-inch plate, and you were to swap that out to a 7-inch plate, okay, people generally eat, this has been studied, 98% of the food that's on the plate. So if you give somebody a smaller plate, it's 20% smaller, they're going to eat 20% less calories. In every study done since the 1950s, this has been proven over and over and over again. Even when people go back and they get second helpings, well, if you get second helpings on a smaller plate, you're still going to get less food. So per individual, they're going to eat less calories. So there's one small example of an environmental change that has a huge impact on somebody's calories. And think about it, if you were actually working out my calories, and let's say you said, Jay, I want Jay to lose weight, you're going to drop my calories by 10 or 20% in order to help me start losing weight, as a kind of rule of thumb. All right, so there's one example. Another example would be if you were to turn around and ask people to just slow down their eating, all right, and then give them something in the short term that they can use to do that. So slow down you could come in 2 varieties, all right? You're going to cut your food, you're going to put it in your mouth and start chewing it, and you're going to put your fork down on the table, all right? And you're not allowed to pick the fork back up until you've swallowed the food. There's one way of slowing down. Another way you could turn around and say to someone, you're going to have to chew your food for 15 chews. So food goes in the mouth, you can keep your fork in your hand. This example is like 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 15, which will cause people to slow down. If you slow down, your body's going to start releasing leptin, ghrelin, and we know what happens then, that your body's going to fill up, you're going to feel more satiating, and then therefore you're going to eat less food total. All right? Another example you could turn around and say to somebody, listen, you want to put vegetables and meat and whatever on your plate, and you're not allowed to eat any chips, you're not allowed to eat any of the fucking chicken until you eat all your vegetables. And I know that might seem like, what? But if you were to do that, somebody's going to eat all the vegetables, chew them all down, fill them up ever so slightly, and just naturally eat less food. So there's 3 examples of how environmental change will have an impact on calories. And if we reduce somebody's calorie, and especially if they're expending through exercise, they're eventually going to lose weight. Make sense?
Yeah, that's a cracker.
So
what about, let's get into some of the juicy shit too, because I know some people are going to be talking about, you know, especially when we're getting into semi-private personal training. Here's one of the biggest mistakes we've seen people who try to, I suppose, imitate what we're doing, or they see what we're doing and they like it, and they try and bring that idea home, and they try to put it into their own gym, and then they encounter some problems. So if you're doing semi-private personal training, but you want to give somebody a test drive of it, or some sort of, you know, irresistible offer, well, what should the training look like in that irresistible offer? How is it going to be different from what you do in the semi-private personal training? How close does it need to be? You know, this is some of the questions that people come up with. And what they end up doing is they have semi-private personal training going on in their gym, and then they have this other thing, which is a different program, which is a complete fucking mistake. And like, we'll explain it this way. Imagine you came to a gym and you were doing this program, and it was called the Slim and Lean in 36. And that's like, you're going to lose between 10 and 15 pounds of stubborn belly fat while doing boring endless cardio or having to eat rabbit food in 28 days, right? So if there's this special program you're doing for 28 days, and then the trainer comes in and says, right, now we're going to get you into the semi-private personal training, it's over here, and they're looking at it going, well, that looks totally different to what I did, and what I did just gave me a result, and I believe in it, and I trusted it, and now you want me to do something else. and you lose them, because this is the mistake. You can't do 2 different programs in the gym and expect them, after they've got a result with this one, want to come and do this one. We even made that mistake with the A12. We know this because we've made this mistake, and we're telling you this because we don't want you to have to go through that shit, right? So like, how would you actually structure the irresistible offer to get people attracted to your gym? Because another mistake people do is they go out and they say, who wants to be in my semi-private small group personal training? Well, fucking nobody. Nobody wants that. It's not sexy. I don't know what the fuck it is. I mean, you've got to remember that the people you're talking to don't know anything about semi-private personal training. No one ever woke up in the morning and said, fuck, I know what I need. I know why I'm fat. It's because I'm not doing semi-private small group personal training, or whatever the fuck you call your thing. So there is a way to structure that correctly. Again, with all the concepts we've talked about, there's going to be a nutrition protocol that will work. There's going to be a training protocol that will work. But how do you structure that properly so that you get the most people converting over into your long-term memberships? So we'll be talking about that shit, Jay, won't we? Yeah,
100%. Like, and I mean, I suppose you could talk about this in 2 ways. One is training, one is nutrition, let's say. So Sean has a hit here about a 2-phase nutrition approach. So a lot of the time, if you're a good trainer, right, and especially if you're educating yourself, you understand and you know the difference between what people need and what people want. But the problem is that you can start falling into the trap of just wanting to give people what they need and shouldn't people. You should want to, you know, eat protein and vegetables 3 times a day. You should want to go for a walk 3 times a week and lift weights 3 times a week. And the person's like, fuck, I don't want to do any of that shit. All right. So you end up shoulding people, and you end up doing what people should do potentially in the long term. All right. And you're trying to give them to that in the short term. So ultimately, the program that you pick for somebody and the training / nutrition philosophy that you use when somebody's coming to train with you should be dictated by the time you've got to work with them. So if somebody comes in and they're working with you for 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, well, they're expecting to get a result within that period of time because you've promised them a result. Hey, lose 5 pounds in 30 days, lose 15 pounds in 6 weeks. So you promised them a result. So that's their expectation. So if you try to use a strategy, you know, which is geared towards long-term results, like 52 weeks a year, and you try and impose it on people in the short term, chances are it's not going to be as successful. So when it comes to nutrition in particular, where I'm starting to steer towards, and we've spoke about this as a team and as a collective, and I think everybody's in agreement, is that you need to have some sort of restrictive or elimination type diet at the beginning. Now, depending on what school and what philosophy you have, it doesn't really matter, in my opinion. When I say restrictive, you've got to restrict down people's calories and maybe even eliminate out certain types of food. So it could be you're not allowed to have any processed food. It could be you're not allowed to have any protein. It could be you're not allowed to have any animal products. It could be you're not allowed to have any carbs. It could be you're not allowed to have any fats for a period of time. That period of time could be a week. It could be 14 days. It could be 30 days, all right? But in that period of time where there's a high level of restriction and it's very, very structured, it's like A, B, C, do this, not this, do this, not this, do this, not this. Very often that's what people want and that's what they expect. So if you give them that and then they end up getting a result, now they have trust built in. It's like, fuck, I got
this works.
Yeah, this works. And when you have trust, then you can educate.
Yeah.
Because
you have to earn the right to educate, right? And there's,
you know, if somebody comes into you, right, and they're a vegan and there's no, like, they've no ethical reasons why to be a vegan. They're just like, listen, watch a documentary on Netflix and it scared the shit out of me. I don't want to die of a heart attack, so now I'm a vegan. All right. It's like, well, you know, if you try and argue with them, you're probably going to end up in a shitty place, all right? You're not really going to win. But if you were to start showing them a few other bits and pieces and you were able to educate them a bit, say, hey, listen, totally get where you're coming from. If I watched that documentary and I didn't know what I know, I'd be shitting myself too. Hey, listen, why don't you have a look at this? Why don't you have a look at that? And then allow them, or I suppose, massage them into being able to be in a position where they can make better decisions. Mm-hmm. So from that initial stage where you have high level of restriction or elimination, then we transition into a stage which is geared towards more long-term success. So imagine a situation where you had a high-fat diet with moderate protein and 0 carbs. Like, you really, listen, you can only have green vegetables. And you've done that for 7 days. or 10 days or
You're
14
gonna lose
days,
fucking weight, like.
people are going to drop weight.
It's
all right?
impossible not to.
Now, you can argue all you want that it's water weight and blah, 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 blah. Listen, it doesn't fucking matter. At the end of the day, people want to lose weight. And if they lose weight, you're in a positive situation. If somebody loses weight, now I'm not talking about fucking starving somebody, but if somebody loses weight and they're overweight, all their health markers are generally going to start to improve, all right? So you're doing something positive.
Yeah, you're doing a good thing.
So then what we can start to do is transition in. We all know carbohydrates are good, so we can start to transition into a moderate carbohydrate diet or a lower carbohydrate diet or carb cycling of some description.
Something more sustainable and long term.
Yeah. And then
you've earned the right to actually show them this now because they trust you. Like, fuck that work. Okay, yeah. I'm open. Tell me what to do now.
Yeah, and you know, if you took your top off, right, and you had dick skin all over your body and you're absolutely fucking shredded, and you tell people, you know, you've got to hop on one leg while drinking fucking blueberry juice every morning, motherfuckers would do it because they're looking at you going, dude is shredded.
He's got to know what he's on about.
He knows what he's talking about. All right. So we've got to use methods that we get some sort of result with people and then we can transition into education. All right. Mm-hmm. And basically, if you put some sort of sexy name on it, and I know this will kill you to do it, but if you put some sort of sexy name on it, like we are doing a cleanse, a metabolic reset, a
thermogenic acceleration phase,
some shit like that, people will lap it up.
You have to have that. You have to ping interest. It has to raise curiosity. If it doesn't, it's going to sound like every fucking thing else. And they're going to say to themselves, tried that before, doesn't work.
Now, and here's an example that someone was talking to us about a while ago. The guys who launched P90X, all right, they launched it, everything was set, it was ready to rock and roll. Nothing was happening. They weren't making sales. So they went back, they looked at it, they kind of tinkered, they played around with it, and they added in one crucial element, and that crucial element was muscle confusion. And when they start talking about muscle confusion,
whatever the fuck that is,
your muscles
are confused.
Your muscles are confused.
So they grow.
So therefore they grow. Sales went through the roof. P90X went on to do $1 billion. That's it.
As shit as you think it is, it's helped more people than fucking all of us combined.
Yes, that's 1,000 millions. That's a lot.
Nine.
It's lots of zeros. 12, is it? Is it 12 zeros?
Yeah, it's more than I'd say.
Like that. Lots. 9 zeros, is it? Yeah.
Anyway, here's another thing that's important to point out. Just when we're talking about like giving them something really restrictive that's black or white. No, you can't have gray areas because here's the thing. Remember, we're trying to scale a fucking business with a system. Someone's going to have to check the nutrition of these people. And if there's all this gray, it's going to make their job fucking impossible. It has to be very clearly this, don't eat this, eat this. And then when you're a trainer, remember, you're scaling a business here, you're going to have fucking 150 clients in your gym. There is no way you're going to be able to look at everyone's nutrition. So you have to systemize how your accountability coach in the area of nutrition can go back to each client and give them meaningful feedback, which keeps them on track. So this is why, and it's crucial to have something restrictive, not only from a results point of view, but from managerial and accountability that the clients need to keep them on track. Have I explained that right?
Yeah, big time. Now, listen, if you're listening to this and you're disagreeing with us, all right, you're saying, no, that's not how I do it. Consider the possibility you're wrong.
Why would he say that? Because believe me, we fucking tried it. And like this works out of everything we've done. And listen, we've done programs that, like for the instance, the Amazing 12 generated 75K every time we launched it. And it was full every fucking time. And that was only one program in the gym, tiny, okay? So like, listen, we've trained fucking hundreds and hundreds of clients for a decade to figure out, and we have tried every iteration of this from every way you can think of. And by the way, all of the stuff that we've talked about in here, including how to get them the result, the restrictive kind of protocols to follow, how to sell more long-term memberships, how to get them invested into long-term stuff, and how to have longer term commitment conversations, how to consult properly so that you get buy-in. All of this shit, we're going to give you our manual. Like, you're going to leave with all of the know-how of how we would do that so that you can take it back to your place and get results from the fucking next day. Not only that, but we're going to walk you out onto the gym floor and we're going to run you through the practical delivery of all of those sessions. You will know how to deliver every single thing with the absolute certainty you need to have the full confidence in your ability to get the kind of results that we're talking about here. Including conditioning. We're giving them conditioning. We're giving them the nutrition. We're going to walk you through the practical coaching elements, like absolutely fucking everything, from the philosophy and the templates, everything you need to run a semi-private facility that could generate high 6, even into the 7 figures, depending on how fucking driven and ambitious you are to get it. And it's going to be on a full day with a practical coaching competency workshop involved in it as well.
And look, ultimately, I think the thing that you got to remember here is whether you are one-on-one, whether you are online, or whether you are training in small groups, medium-sized groups, or large groups, this is going to be principles-based, so it's going to be able to apply across the board to all those things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, look, if this sounds like something you're interested in, we're going to stick Darren Murphy. Darren Murphy loves our shit. I know he's going to come for this. So here you go. There is the link. It is. We were going to do this for 197 euros. If you ask me, it's worth fucking 497. Like, to get even just the programs is worth 300 quid. Fuck me. It's a year's worth of strength and conditioning programs that you can choose whether you want to use it for strength, whether you want to use it for hypertrophy, whether you want to use it for fat loss, or you want to use the programs that we have for helping people look, feel, perform better. Whatever, all of those are there. You're going to have all of the conditioning. Fuck me. If all it did was give you the reduction in ball ache of having to template out all those programs, and you wouldn't have to think about a conditioning program for the next year, that would be fucking worth it, right? Or if all it did was give you the ability to come and see how to actually structure semi-private personal training and the way to deliver it in your irresistible offer and to create longer-term memberships and buy-in from your clients, that would be fucking worth it. And then think about like the nutrition system that you're going to get, everything you need to get results, the restrictive stuff, the long-term stuff, that idea about educate and get results first and then educate, how to earn the right by getting results that allows you to educate your clients in proper nutrition. All that shit's going to be in there. Anything else that I've missed?
No, man, listen, there's loads of shit in there. Loads.
And we're doing it for, it's fucking 97 quid.
Sound fair enough?
Fucking mental. 97 quid. I mean, it's 2 PT sessions.
If you don't buy that, you're a ball bag and we don't want you anyway. And on that bombshell, we must shoot. Peace out.
You're not really ball bags, but by the course, we'll love to see you here in the facility.
Ding.
Bibbidi bop.
Boop.